Today, we're going to look at this brilliant idea from horticulturalist Graeme Farrer that completely flips a common gardening problem right on its head. We're going to learn how to turn shade from something frustrating into your garden's absolute greatest weapon against that intense summer heat. So let's dive in.
First off, let me ask you something. Is your garden what people call a sun trap? I think you know the feeling. It's just gorgeous in May, right? But come July, it feels less like a peaceful retreat and more like a pizza oven. The patio is literally too hot to walk on barefoot. All the plants are looking stressed and thirsty, and you feel like you're constantly out there with the hose.
And this really lays out the two paths your garden can take. On one side, you've got the baked garden, just radiating heat, demanding tons of water and hard work. But on the other, there's the resilient garden, a cool, lush escape. And the key difference between the two? It's surprisingly simple: strategic shade.
Okay, so let's really break down the problem. Why do so many of our outdoor spaces get so incredibly hot? Well, it all comes down to what we call the sun trap effect.
You know, it's kind of funny when you think about just how common all these features are. We all have them, right? Big stone patios, dark fences, south-facing walls. They're meant to soak up that lovely sun, but by the middle of summer, they stop being pleasant and start acting like giant radiators. They just absorb heat all day long and then blast it back out, stressing everything in the garden, including you.
But here's the really good news. There's an elegant, totally natural solution. It's all about changing how we think about shade, not as a problem to be solved, but as the powerful, living air conditioning system that your garden is absolutely crying out for.
And get this, the impact is absolutely staggering. By strategically placing just one small tree, you can lower the ground temperature underneath it by up to 10 degrees Celsius. I mean, that's not a small change. That is a complete and total transformation of your garden's microclimate. So the core idea behind all of this is what Graeme Farrer calls the parasol effect, and it's beautifully simple. You're basically using the canopy of a leafy, deciduous tree to act like a natural parasol. It filters that harsh midday sun but still lets in enough of that gentle, dappled light for everything underneath to thrive.
Now, to really get why this works so well, we got to talk about something called thermal mass. Your stone patio, for example, has a really high thermal mass. That just means it's fantastic at absorbing, storing, and then releasing heat. So the real key here is to stop the sun's energy from ever hitting that patio in the first place. That's why a tree is so much more effective than a simple umbrella. It intercepts the heat before it gets stored.
So how do we actually do this? Well, the good news is there's a super straightforward, actionable plan for installing this natural cooling system in your very own garden. It's called the 1-2-3 Action Plan. It's simple. 1 key structural decision, 2 fantastic maintenance wins that actually mean less work for you, and 3 perfect climate hero plants for the job. Let's break it down. All right, first up, the big one. The single most important structural piece of the puzzle, the southern intercept. The goal here is dead simple. You want to position your natural parasol to block the sun before it can bake your garden's biggest heat radiators. Okay, so here's exactly what you do. First, go outside and identify your heat anchors, that big patio, that dark fence. Next, you're going to position a small deciduous tree about 3 to 5 meters away from it, specifically on the south or southwest side. Now, why there? Because your main goal is to cast a cooling shadow directly onto that hot surface during the absolute peak heat of the day, which is usually between 1 and 4 p.m. Now for part 2 of the plan. And honestly, this is where it gets even better. Because strategic shade doesn't just cool your garden, it actually means less work for you. And that's thanks to 2 huge maintenance wins.
So win number 1 is what we call the leaf litter bank. Think about it. Every single autumn, your tree gives you this amazing gift of fallen leaves. Now, instead of raking them all up and bagging them, you just blow them into your garden beds. They create this living mulch that insulates the soil, locks in moisture, and feeds all the microbes that keep your garden healthy. It is literally a free, self-renewing soil conditioner year after year.
And win number 2 is the light lift. Now don't worry, this isn't some massive, complicated pruning job. Not at all. Every few years, you just thin out a few of the inner branches. The whole goal is to create that perfect, beautiful, dappled light, which lets the plants below get just enough sun to thrive. You get all the cooling benefits of the canopy without creating a dark, sad little zone underneath.
Okay, so we've got the plan. Now we need the right tools for the job. For most gardens, you want trees that give you that high-quality shade without getting absolutely enormous. So let's meet 3 climate heroes that are just perfect for this.
First up, we have the rowan tree.
It's a true resilient native. Its feathery leaves are absolute masters at creating that soft, dappled shade we're looking for. Plus, it's incredibly tough, handles wind like a champ, and its berries are a vital food source for birds in the winter. What's not to love?
Next, the Japanese maple. This one is the undisputed master of the small space canopy. Its leaves are pretty dense, which makes them amazing at blocking heat. But the best part? Its root system is non-aggressive, which makes it the perfect choice for planting near patios or walls without having to worry about it causing any damage down the line.
And our third hero is the cloud tree, also known as the Juneberry. This tree is a multi-season superstar. You get flowers in the spring, berries in the summer, and incredible autumn color. Its canopy is so light and airy, it cools down a seating area perfectly without ever making you feel like you're in a dark, enclosed space.
All right, let's bring this all together. You've got the problem, you understand the science, and now you have the plan. All that's left is to take that one simple but incredibly powerful first step.
You know, there's this fantastic quote from Graeme Farrer that just sums it all up perfectly. The best time to plant the shade tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. It's just a great reminder that this simple act has these huge, long-term compounding benefits.
So please remember this. You're not just planting a tree. What you are actually doing is installing a permanent, living, self-maintaining cooling system. One that's going to make your garden more resilient, more beautiful, and just so much more enjoyable for years and years to come.
So I'm going to leave you with one final question and a little bit of homework. Sometime this week, I want you to go out in your garden at about 3 in the afternoon. Look and see exactly where the sun is hitting your patio or your main seating area. Because that spot, right there, that's exactly where your new natural parasol needs to go.